Hey FlossTube, this is Brian. Welcome back. This is my 48th FlossTube video. And in this video I plan on sharing with you the things that I have been working on for the past couple of weeks. Yes, it's been 2 weeks. As I mentioned in my last video, I didn't have time to do a video last week. And the reason for that was that we went to Utah to celebrate my daughter's graduation. She graduated from BYU with a bachelor degree, and we went up for her graduation ceremony. It was a great ceremony. Commencement was really good, and it was fun to see her receive her diploma. So we're really excited for her and for the things that she is going to be able to accomplish. It was a quick trip for me. I was back down here that weekend and had to be back at work on Monday. So it was a really quick trip, but now we have the entire family here. It feels good to have everybody home again. My son is also, one of my sons is going to Utah State, and it's good to have him home as well. So there's a lot of things starting to happen around here. As always, before we continue, I want to welcome you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoyed the things that I have to share with you. And I have seen a lot of people start to subscribe to me. So welcome. I know that you are out there, and I'm really glad that you have decided to subscribe and watch my videos. I really appreciate that. If you are coming back, welcome. I am so thankful that you would enjoy spending time with me and continue to watch my videos. Before we go on, I want to respond to some of the comments and questions that I received since my last video. So first of all, in my last video, I talked about O Jerusalem, which is a painting by Greg Olson that was converted into a cross-stitch chart, a kit actually, and I also showed some Greg Olson paintings. And by sheer coincidence, Handwork Maniac, who is Brenda, happened to show her finished O Jerusalem, and also some kits that she has of other Greg Olson paintings that have been made into cross-stitch kits. And I had a couple of people say, hey, did you see her video? And yes, I saw it. I actually saw it when I was uploading my video. It's kind of a fun coincidence. I really liked her O Jerusalem is just beautiful, and it really made me want to start O Jerusalem myself. So that is kind of moved up on the priority list for me. We'll see when I get around to starting it. Beth Pierce asked me if it is normal for me to work horizontally like I am doing on A Savior's Praise. And yeah, it kind of is. I mean, I have different techniques that I use, and I choose which technique I prefer to use rather than being stuck on one technique. And for when there's like a sampler that has a bunch of individual motifs, I find that it's easier to just stitch each motif rather than stitch everything diagonally. Also, if I'm working with overdyed floss, I do not like the idea of stitching diagonally with overdyed floss because I'm worried that I'll get diagonal lines from the variegation in the floss. So those are two situations where I'm not going to stitch diagonally. For me, stitching diagonally works best if I am stitching a full coverage piece or if I am dealing with a whole bunch of confetti. Parking helps me deal with the confetti, and stitching diagonally helps me to make sure that I don't accidentally put lines in my finished piece. Stephanie Hayashida asked me what fabric I like to stitch on. And Stephanie is coming back to cross stitch after a break, and she says that the fabric that she is working with right now is really gauzy, and she remembered that I had complained about gauzy fabric and wanted to know my advice. And Stephanie, first of all, welcome to cross stitch. Welcome back. I hope that you find as much, that you enjoy it as much as we all do. And I would suggest if you want to use linen, I have never had any problem with Zweigart linen. It's really nice, and I have generally the threads are pretty much uniform, and it's pretty stable fabric. So you can try a 28 count Cashel linen or a 32 count Belfast linen. Those are both really nice linens. If you want a little bit more stability, you could also try even weave. You can try, for example, a 25 count Lugana or a 28 count Jobelan. Those are both fabrics. The threads in those fabrics are more uniform than they are in linen, and they're a little bit more substantial. So those fabrics are a lot more stable than linen is. And I like all of those. I mean, I'm not an exclusive linen stitcher or an exclusive even weave stitcher. I will just use what I want to use. So yeah, I hope that helped. Also, I had another viewer, Quigley MP, suggest to me another way to determine what color of fabric to use for a given piece. I asked that question for a viewer a couple of videos ago, and she suggested, like, if you want to stitch Picture This Plus, she suggested buying a whole bunch of small pieces of different colors from Picture This Plus, and then use them to put the threads for the project on and decide which of those colors works best with the colors of floss that you're stitching with. And I really like that idea. I had never thought about doing that. I know I remember somebody else in another video, another Floss 2 video, and I'm sorry I don't remember who it was, suggesting doing that. So that would be another possibility if you wanted to do that. Those small swatches of fabric are relatively inexpensive, so you could probably get quite a collection to tell you what to do. Okay. So yeah. So we mentioned I mentioned that we celebrated my daughter's graduation, and I have something to show you. And I have to go over and get it, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have been sitting on this for a couple of months, and I've been excited to share it with you, but I wasn't able to because my daughter watches my Floss 2 videos. Anyway, my wife a couple of months ago suggested that we frame one of the pieces that I've stitched to give to her for graduation. And so, if you are new to my channel, or if you haven't watched my very early videos, you haven't seen this piece. I showed this in like my second video, I think. This is a piece by Teresa Wensler that I framed. And we framed it and gave it to my daughter for her graduation present. And yeah, so this is it. This is called Stroke of Midnight by Teresa Wensler. Of course, it's a picture of Cinderella running away from the prince down the stairs of the palace. I stitched this about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a real challenge for me at the time. I learned how to park on this piece, and learning how to park made it so that I could actually stitch this piece. It is very heavy, especially right through here with this plant, and parking got me through the plant. And yeah, so we decided to frame this and give it to her for her graduation present. And it's framed with, this is a red suede mat. I guess it's more maroon or burgundy than red. And then there is a light gray and a dark gray mat. So 3 mats. The frame has a red tint to it as well. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. So yeah. So when my wife suggested that, I said, well, but our youngest is not going to like that because my youngest really likes that piece as well. And she said, well, if she wants it, you can just stitch it again for her. And I've actually been kind of gearing myself up to do that. I kind of would like to stitch it again, just because I have learned quite a bit since I stitched that. I wasn't stitching diagonally at the time, and I'd like to try stitching it diagonally to see how it would turn out. However, my other daughter, she says she doesn't want the exact same thing that her older sister has. So I have committed to stitch something for her graduation. We haven't decided what that piece is yet. Luckily I have 4 years and maybe a little bit longer to actually decide and stitch something. So I think I've got time to be able to do something, and we'll see what happens. But I've just been really excited to share that with you. Okay, I received something in the mail this week from the Fat Quarter Shop, and I want to share it with you. I received 2 of these cross-stitch journals, and they're pretty nice. They have room for you to keep track of 50 projects. There is an index at the front for each of the 50 projects, so you can have a place to look up what page they're on. And then for each project, there is a page, and it has a place to record the name of the project and the designer, when you started, when you finished, what fabric you used, the floss that you used. You can keep track of the time you spent stitching, which that wouldn't work for me. I don't think I could keep track of with my big projects. And notes down here. So it's really cool. I have 2 of these, and I have my own journal. My journal is my spreadsheet, so I don't really need this, so I thought I would give these away. I have 2 of them, and in addition to this journal, I also have a couple of charts from that I'll be giving away too. This is Happy Farm Girl and Farm Girl Fall. So if you would like a journal and one of these charts, all you need to do is comment below and tell me that you would like to keep track of your cross-stitch projects. If you have a preference for which chart you would like, if you would like to have the Happy Farm Girl chart mention something about a farm girl, and if you would like to have the Farm Girl Fall chart mention something about fall, or if you would like to have either one of them, you can say that you would like both of them, mention both of them. Just a click for house cleaning, a couple of rules. You must be 18 to enter. If you are under 18, you need to have permission from your parent or guardian to enter. Also, I would prefer that you be a subscriber to enter and comment and leave a comment below. Let's say in 2 weeks, I will close up the comments for this video, and I'll record whoever has entered into it, and we will do a random drawing to do that. Okay. Another thing that I want to do is I want to talk about another chart that I would like to stitch. This is designed by Rosewood Manor. I really like Rosewood Manor designs. And this is Dreaming of Iris. Iris are my favorite one of my favorite flowers. They remind me of my grandfather. He had a bed of iris in the back of his lawn that was always really pretty. And I just really like iris. So, and I really like the colors in here. Probably my favorite color of iris is that dark purple iris. I really like dark purple irises too. So I love the colors in this piece. And I would love to stitch this someday. So this is something that I would like to stitch sooner rather than later. Okay, Now let's talk a little bit about April. I want to just give you a quick summary of what April was like for me. It was a great month stitching wise. I'll show you my stitch trend really quick. This is, as you can see, I had a spike in the number of stitches that I put in. That's because I was working with 2 projects that had a lot of negative space, so I was able to cover a lot of area in my charts. Also, just to show you what I've been working on, here's a Pareto that shows the number of days that I worked on each project. And I've spent a lot of time on Quaker Christmas II because I spent 2 weeks on it. So that's the winner there. And with the number of stitches that I put in each project, Quaker Christmas II wins there as well because I've worked on it that long. So that's what I've been working on. So the last 2 weeks, I have been working on Quaker Christmas II. Of course, this is a design by Bygone Stitches. It is a sampler of Quaker motifs with Christmas songs embedded in them. It's a really fun piece to stitch, and I've really enjoyed working on it. So I'll show you what this piece looked like the last time that you saw it. I'm stitching this on 28 count Ivory Jobelan, and I am using the called for threads, which are General Arts. Cranberry is the name of the red thread, and the green is blue spruce. Cranberry has a nice red variegation, and I really like that. And the blue spruce isn't really variegated, but I really like the color. So this is what it looks like now. I'll pull back a little bit so that you can see the entire piece. Yeah, it looks, when I pulled it off the squirrel frame, I hadn't realized how much I'd actually stitched until I pulled it off. So when I started stitching on it 2 weeks ago, I had to finish this motif down here. Then I stitched Let There Be Peace on Earth, and then I stitched this motif up here. As charted, this wasn't symmetrical. These 2 triangles here were a little bit smaller than these, and that really bugged me. So I ended up putting in another couple of diagonal rows on each of those triangles to make them the same size. Then I worked over here and stitched Mary, and this motif gave me a lot of problems. I don't know why, but I made a ton of mistakes and had to keep fixing them. And then I've also stitched the sleigh and these 2 big motifs as well. This motif is huge and took me quite a while. So one of the things that I'll show you is, if you notice this sleigh, I've started using Priscilla's method of stitching with overdyed floss, which is, if I've got a piece, a big area like this, I've been stitching, outlining it, and then just filling it in by going around in circles. And I really like the effect that that gives. It makes it more of a gradient. There's like a gradient in here instead of lines. So I really like that effect. And I've been doing that on several other motifs through here as well. Yeah. As I said, I've had lots of fun with this. Yeah, I'm really happy with my progress. So the next time I start working on it, I am actually have one more motif up here. So the corner is about here, the top corner. So I think I'm going to stitch up to that corner and then just work on filling across from both corners. I'll also work up to here and then meet in the middle. So yeah, my spreadsheet says that I will be finished. I have about 2.5 weeks left to stitch on this. And if you've been paying attention, Gerald has started working on Henry again. And so if I want to be able to finish this to enter into his competition, I think this is going to have to come out again before it would normally come up in my rotation. So we'll see when I decide to do that. Yeah, right now I'm kind of burned out with it. This is a case where I find that a week is sometimes not long enough to work on a project, but 2 weeks is too long, and I've about hit my limit with that. I'll be excited to work on it when I decide to pull it out again, but I'm kind of tired of it right now. So, yeah. Anyway, so you might be asking, what is he going to work on this next week? And I've been talking about what I'm going to work on for the past couple of weeks. I am going to do a new start, and I've been talking about doing this, and I am really excited. I am going to be stitching the Drawn Thread Winter Garden. I'm really excited to start this. I'm going to be starting this tonight. And if you want to stitch this with me, I've had a couple of people express an interest to stitch this with me. Let's use a hashtag on Instagram. The hashtag is DrawnThreadGardenSal. I will be following that hashtag so that I will see anybody who posts that hashtag, and would love to see what garden you start, and would love to see your progress as you stitch with me. Of course, there's no time limit. You don't have to start right now. You can start whenever, but I will be following that hashtag. I am really excited about this. This is kind of a departure from what I normally do. It's a little bit smaller, and it has specialty stitches. I'm not really worried about the specialty stitches. I am more worried about anchoring my floss, because this is stitched in silk. And as I mentioned before, I've been having a hard time anchoring my floss on the Four Seasons. And there are some places in here where there's not a lot of space, there's not a lot of stitches that you can anchor under. So we'll see what happens. One of those places is right here where I'm going to start on this dogwood. This is basically some back-stitched vines with little cross stitches spread throughout them, like 2 or 3 stitches here and there. So what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to back stitch the vines and then go back in and put in the little individual crosses. And I think I'm going to carry, but I'm going to carry through the vines so that you can't see the actual floss being carried. So that's kind of what I'm working on. This feels like it's a little bit small, so I'm excited to see how much I'm able to stitch this week. I don't think I'll finish it, but I think I'll have quite a bit done. So that's what I'm working on. I'll be stitching it on this. This is the called for Smoky Pearl Linen, Smoky Pearl Belfast. I really like this color. It's kind of a grayish blue, and in this light it even looks like it has a bit of a green tint. So I'm really, this is what I'll be using. At any rate, I hope, so that's all I have to share with you. I hope that you have a great week. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and see my daily progress. I am at Blitz Stitch. As always, if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave them below. I will be glad to answer them to the best of my ability. Also, feel free to like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great week, and we will talk to you later. Goodbye.